very, very dreadfully nervous. I had been and I am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed them, not dulled them. Above all, was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? Listen and observe how healthily, how calmly. I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me, day and night. Object there was none, passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. I never desired his gold. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture whenever it fell upon me. My blood ran cold, and so, by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now, this is the point you fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing, but you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight. Every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it. Oh, so gently. And this I did for 7 long nights. Every night, just at midnight. But I found the eye always closed. And so, it was impossible to do the work, for it was not the old man who tormented me, but his evil eye. And every morning, when the day broke, I went boldly into the chamber, and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone, and inquiring how he had passed the night. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. To think that there I was, opening the door, little by little, and he didn't even dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly.
Who's there?
His room was as black as pitch with thick darkness, for the shutters were closed, fearing robbers. And so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily, steadily. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lying down. He was still sitting up in the bed, listening, just as I had done, night after night, hearing the death watches in the wall. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern, until, at length, a single dim ray, like the thread of the spider, shot from out the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. It was open, wide, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw with perfect distinctness, but I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I directed the ray, as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. I then smiled happily, to find the deed so far done. If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer, when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night waned, and I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head, and the arms and the legs. I then took up the 3 planks of the flooring of the chamber, and deposited all between the scantlings. It was 4 o'clock. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open with a light heart, for what had I to worry now? There entered 2 men, who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. I smiled, for what had I to fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The scream, I said, was in my own dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room, and desired them to rest here from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. At one point, one of the officers received a call, while the other remained to check the other room. But at this moment I felt myself getting pale, and wished them gone. My head ached, and I felt a ringing in my ears, but still they sat and still chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and became clearer until, at length, I found out the noise was not within my ears. I knew that sound well too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained and stood still. But the beating grew louder, louder, and now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. Talk more quickly, more aggressively, but the noise steadily increased. I rose and argued about trifles in a high key and with violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. It grew louder, louder, louder. Was it possible they heard not? No, no, they heard. They suspected. They knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. But anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I felt that I must scream or die.
Villains! Dissemble no more! I admitted it! Here! Here! Tear out the blank! Here is the beating of his heart!